an architect disenchanted with love who mysteriously finds herself trapped inside a romantic comedy. The film offers a satirical take on rom-com tropes while emphasizing the importance of self-love and appreciating one's own worth before seeking validation from others. Now, these films offer diverse perspectives on love, making them perfect choices for your Valentine's Day viewing. Happy viewing! Now, before I bring in my guest today, and by the way, Conestoga, we do have something really, really special for you today, and I'm so excited about it. But before I bring in my guests, here's a video I would like for you to see.
Valentine's Day. It's here. You can practically feel it, right? That weird mix of pressure, excitement, and maybe a little dread, especially when you're a college student. Don't worry, we've all been there. Forget those fancy dinners you see in movies. Let's talk real-life Valentine's Day on a student budget. Think picnics in the park, movie nights with homemade popcorn, extra butter please, or exploring that quirky museum downtown. Remember, it's about spending quality time with someone you care about. Bonus points if you can make each other laugh along the way. Don't get hung up on grand gestures. Sometimes the simplest dates are the most memorable. So you're single on Valentine's Day? No problem. This is your chance to celebrate yourself. Grab your best friends and have a blast. Movie marathon? Yes. Spa night with DIY face masks? Absolutely. Baking cookies and devouring them all by yourselves? You deserve it. Valentine's Day is about celebrating love, and that includes self-love. Treat yourself to something you enjoy, explore a new hobby, or simply relax and recharge. Remember, being single is not a curse. It's an opportunity to focus on yourself and build amazing friendships. Let's be real for a second. Valentine's Day can come with a lot of pressure. Suddenly, everyone feels like they need the perfect date, the perfect gift, the perfect Instagram post. Take a deep breath and remember, it's just one day. Don't let the pressure get to you. Talk to your partner about your expectations, keep it lighthearted, and focus on enjoying each other's company. And if things don't go exactly as planned, laugh it off. Life isn't a rom-com. It's messier and more unpredictable, and that's okay. What matters most is the connection you share, not the perfectly curated Instagram story. Valentine's Day is a celebration of love in all its forms. So whether you're planning a romantic picnic, having a blast with friends, or enjoying some well-deserved self-care, remember to have fun. Be kind, be yourself, and don't take things too seriously. Spread the love, appreciate the people in your life, and most importantly, enjoy the journey. Happy Valentine's Day!
We continue our Valentine's Day special with a man who wears many hats with grace and expertise. Nnamdi Oboli. An accomplished author, relationship coach, and life coach, Nnamdi has dedicated his career to guiding individuals and couples toward fulfilling relationships. His book, Marriage for Better for Us, offers profound insights into building lasting marital bonds. Beyond his professional achievements, Nnamdi is the proud husband of renowned Nollywood actress and director Omoni Oboli. Together, they have built a strong partnership celebrating over 2 decades of marriage. The union is blessed with 3 sons, and recently they have embraced the joyous role of grandparents. In today's Ask the Coach segment, Nnamdi will address some of the most pressing questions about love, dating, and relationships. We're also excited to have 3 of our insightful students in the studio ready to engage in this meaningful conversation. So without any further ado, let's dive into this enriching discussion. Everybody, good to have you in the studio today.
Yeah, well,
Thanks for having
Happy
us.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Did you say that to your special someone today, or you forgot? Because I know my colleague forgot.
I did.
Okay.
No, we did last night.
Oh, earlier. Good.
Yeah, because we had class early morning, so we just exchanged gifts last night.
Oh, that was good. Okay, what about you, Willow?
I've been single for like a year or so.
It's okay to be single as a Pringle, but you can always mingle.
You make a valid point.
And so you should feel that advantage for sure, okay? And what about you, Leslie?
I'm with Willow on that. I'm single as a Pringle, but you know, me and my McDonald's.
And let me tell you, that's why we're having this conversation today, because whether you're single, whether you have that special someone, whether you're married, whatever your love journey is, we want to talk about this thing called love. It seems so complicated. People say love is all kinds of things. But really, before I get to Mr. Nnamdi, who is our relationship coach, who will guide this conversation, by the way, let me ask you, what is love, Dhruv?
Love to me just is like, feeling comforted by someone, and like when you're not at your best, and just have like that companion who you can always talk to or hang out with, or just like you can just, it's like that friend that it's almost just like a friend, but at the same time it's like you're spending your whole life with them. Whenever
Great, good to know. Leslie, let me ask, I know you said you're single, but are you particularly concerned about finding, maybe everybody has their definitions. So what kind of partner are you looking forward to having? Someone you want to spend the rest of your life with?
Just kind of someone I could like see as a best friend too. Someone that I can be myself around and, feel judgment-free space, unconditional support. Just that sort of thing, yeah.
Great. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Now, I know you said you're single, but hey, what was your first Valentine's date like?
My first Valentine's Day, I actually set it up myself.
I love that.
Yeah, I had to kind of put in the whole effort. It was with my ex about a year ago. We set up a dinner at a restaurant, and then we had the dinner. We were actually looking at adopting a cat, so we were looking at cats over dinner at shelters. I also bought him a flower because I heard most men don't get flowers, so I got him a rose. He was pretty happy about that, shockingly. So that was pretty much the entirety of the date. It was just us looking at cats, eating dinner, and giving each other flowers.
I think you're one of those special women who really are that open and generous. And I'm not saying that women are not generous, but I think there's this, is it a premonition or some sort of ideology around the gifts that we get on Valentine's Day, and how that's if you're in a heterosexual relationship, how the men often would be the ones that give the bigger gifts, the most expensive gifts, and sometimes maybe the most thoughtful gifts. I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But really, I'm glad that you could give your ex-boyfriend a flower, and that's something new to me. Maybe I should take that home too. That's great. So, Mr. Nnamdi,
Yes.
I don't know where to start this conversation because it's a broad topic, but I like to start from the place of self-love, and that's because in this time and age, this is a concept that has been so much talked about. And whether on social media, for instance, relationship coach, therapist, they always remind us, you have to love yourself. And I think that that's a big part of even loving others. But my concern is sometimes the way these messages are being preached or being advocated for, it's almost seeming like you are just enough. You don't have to crave for love or to even give it because, you're just enough. So how can we please put some context, value to the concept of self-love? What exactly is self-love? And how should we feel self-love?
Well, everything we do, basically, as human beings, assumes that we already love ourselves. Even in our worst moments, if we think about it seriously, we're loving ourselves. Hey, if you feel so bad and so into yourself and you're feeling depressed, it's because you're thinking of yourself. Even to the worst case of life, you're always feeling like they don't care about me. Think about it, it's all about self-love. It's assumed in everything that we do, that we love ourselves. The difference is, how do we love ourselves? How do we express that love in such a way that we understand who we are? And then be in the place to actually express it with somebody else and not bring a burden and become a burden for the other person as well. So loving yourself is something that's already assumed. The question is, how do you love yourself? How do you express yourself in that way towards yourself? Because you're going to give yourself to someone else. And if you're bringing baggage, well, you're going to transfer that baggage into someone else. So how do you curtail that? It comes with personal responsibility, understanding what love is. Love is an action. It's something that has to do with, okay, I love myself. What does that mean? do I take care of myself in such a way that the other people appreciate who I am? And if they appreciate who I am, then that means I'm also loving them in that exchange as well. So loving yourself is something, I don't think it's something we learn. It's something that's already there. I mean, if you've had kids, babies, I have a granddaughter right now, so she wants things for herself. She cries because she wants herself. It's just something that just flows naturally with all of us. But it's how we do that. Some people do it to the point that they start harming themselves, and they harm themselves because they want to get attention from someone else.
Interesting.
Interesting, but I mean, I'm gonna be letting us we're going to this conversation in bits and pieces. I'm gonna come back to you. We'll do some fun stuff, and then we'll come back to him. But I really have a thought I would like to share. But I just hold that for. So first of all, have you ever had any crushes? I mean, it's okay. It's okay
Yeah,
too.
obviously. Yeah.
Okay, so what happened? Was it love at the first sight, or was it I have to walk by again? What was?
Well, okay. So, about my girlfriend right now, I did have a crush on her. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't say it was like love at first sight or anything, but it's just we started hanging out as friends, and then, like, eventually, it kind of, I kind of developed feelings for her, and sort of like the same. And yeah, it wasn't love at first sight, but I mean, kinda. If you, in a way, it was because like we were hanging out and we both started having feelings for each other. So I guess maybe.
What about you, Leslie? Have you ever had a crush, and how did you manage that?
Yeah, so my ex and I, we met, and basically the first day that we met, we knew that we really wanted to be with each other, and it was just talking nonstop, and there was just something that clicked, and we took it slow. We didn't go into a relationship too fast, but we definitely got to know each other very well, and things were going pretty well. But yeah.
Awesome. What about you? Have you been in a love at first sight relationship or not?
I don't think well, there was one that was close to love at first sight, I would say. I was in the States for a little bit, for about 2 months, and a friend of a friend, they're in a band together, ended up, talking to each other for maybe a short little bit, and we kind of hit it off quite quickly, but it was one of those very short and sweet at the time relationships where you kind of just full jump. You don't really think it through too much. You just assume that the feelings are actual true feelings. And then very quickly we both realized that that was not the case. And it was just essentially filling the void for each other. So we kind of ended things a little abrasively. But it was an interesting time. You live and you learn, especially from so-called, love at first sight that you think is love at first sight.
Thank you for that. What do I call it? That was a sage-like wisdom. Thank you so much. Mr. Ananda, let's talk about love at first sight. I mean, I've never had a love at first sight relation. I don't know. I've always been very, I'm always someone who would look, observe, be sure before I delve into anything. So I haven't really experienced love at first sight. My husband, who I'm happily married to, we didn't meet in such a circumstance. He's met me a couple of times over and over and over again. I wasn't even looking in his direction, but it turned out to be, it worked, right? Yeah. So please tell us about love at first sight. I know relationships that work because they actually saw themselves, they were attracted to each other, and it clicked. For some people, it never really worked that way. So what is really love at first sight?
Well, for most men, it's actually lust at first sight. It's not love at first sight. It's like, I want this girl and she's everything that I want. I just want to go for it. That's the first infatuation. I like what he said. Like, it built up over time. That's actually real love in action. But it doesn't always come and hit you over the head kind of thing. And see the direction. He's with someone that didn't happen like that. And she's not with the person who happened quicker like that. Those things aren't really the love itself. The real love expression is in the actions that you take and the responsibility that you do. It's not a noun, it's a verb. It's an action, love itself. So when you see someone infatuated for the first time, it's always about something that they meet at those times. Like they've just ticked off some quick boxes. And those boxes are somehow being dictated by society sometimes, telling you if you meet someone like this, and then you meet the person, wow, that's the one, and then you go for it. But it's probably not the right person for you. So love at first sight is something that you have to first think, yes, I like the person. And it's a good thing to like someone the first time. But then you have to be cautious and say, wait a minute. is it really something that is rational? Is it based on something I'm actually thinking about? Oh, I'm crazy about this guy, but he lives in another continent, for instance, and then you just met, he's just here on holiday, and there's no chance that both of you are going to be together. It's not realistic.
Can I just quickly
Yeah.
cut in here? But sometimes it's the emotions, right? The emotions get into your head, and you just feel it's like, oh, you really just head over heels over this person. At that point, how do you manage those emotions and control yourself and say, you know what, like you said, this can't really work out. But what do you do when your emotions are driving you towards someone, but your head says no?
Let me give you a typical example. I met my wife. I would say I was smitten from the start, but that's me. That's what I saw. The only thing she could have done was dissuade my affections and my emotions. So basically, she's already there. Anything else she was doing after that was either to get it off and make me think differently and say, whoa, this is crazy. This is a crazy girl or something, or to maintain the same standard. And I proposed in 2 weeks.
Ooh.
And we got married a few months later. And this is 24, going to 25 years now. So the issue is what we call love at first sight. It wasn't love at first sight for her because I'm the one doing the wooing. I'm the guy. I'm pursuing. I really want this girl, and I want to go that. It doesn't have to be mutual in that sense. But I saw qualities that I had in her, but I had to test them. Because the fact that I'm obsessed with her the first time, like, oh, wow, does not mean I'm going to end up with her. So love at first sight is just an attraction. It's just a physical thing. It has nothing to do with the actual love of the person.
So do you give yourself some time to let it wane down, or what do you do when you're in the space where you cannot control your feelings, towards this person?
No, exploit it.
Exploit it.
Why not?
Okay.
Why not? You like the person. You have a feeling of attraction to that person. Then go to it. Go for it. But that doesn't mean that because of that, you should allow them to take advantage of you. That's how it works.
Okay.
If the situation is not working in that direction, then, hey, just leave. Guess what? 2 days ago, you didn't know that person. So why acting like your whole world now is now bound to the same person, and it's just not right. That's the only thing.
Ooh, how you guys feeling?
Some deep thoughts.
Yeah, really, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in my 30s, and I'm assuming that you might be in your 20s, or I don't know, I'm not quite sure, but you are younger people for sure, right? and I mean, this is the age of digitalization, social media, and some of the things we learn from social media. Can I ask you an honest question? And be honest with me, please. How has social media influenced your love perspectives?
Honestly, like I didn't like look to date anybody till like last maybe 3 years, and in the beginning I was just on like dating apps and just swiping on people, which kind of like now that I'm in a relationship for like a year, more than a year, it kind of feels stupid that I was that desperate that I was just on this app all the time, just swiping on people and just wanting to, go out on a date with someone. But I don't know. For me, maybe it's because I'm in a relationship right now that it feels that way. That it's sort of just I don't really look up to apps and stuff, and I feel like a lot of my friends and everyone would agree it's sort of like a waste of time. People, even knowing it's a waste of time, will always go on there and, whenever we are desperate, but it's still, I think everyone sort of agrees it's not the way to go.
And speaking about desperation, is it because you really just want to feel that you're being appreciated by someone else? You want to spend time with someone? What is the drive exactly?
I think it's just loneliness.
Okay.
It probably is for most people. I mean, I can speak for myself. Yeah, whenever you feel lonely, you want to, like talk to someone, but not like you don't want to go to a friend. You get on a dating app. It's the most like it's so convenient.
I still nodding. So what do you want to say about that?
I know the dating apps all too well. I've since kind of given up on using them though because, like he said, they don't really work. You go on there and it's the same thing every time. You already know what both you're there for. It doesn't really give much of a chance to get to know each other outside of that because you're already thinking, oh, this is what we want, this is what we need to do. But and I would definitely agree with like the loneliness part of why people might go on dating apps. I know for me personally, it's just seeing all of my friends and everybody around me in a happy relationship, and that kind of puts the pressure on you to feel like, what am I doing wrong? But I mean, I guess it just moves at different paces for everybody, and yeah.
Willow, you want to say something too?
I mean, I've been on and off dating apps for probably since shortly after I broke up with my ex, because I grew up kind of constantly being surrounded by people who needed me. And so when I don't really have those people that rely on me, I tend to get essentially desperate. I get very desperate. So that's when I'll, re-download my dating apps, start going through them, trying to connect with people. And then I remember that online, I'm horrible at making connections with people. It doesn't feel the same as it would in person. So then I'll delete them, and then I'll go, wandering about wherever in person to find these people to connect with. And then ultimately it comes down to how vulnerable can I get another person until they can't be vulnerable with me anymore. And then, as bad as it sounds, I'll essentially throw them away because I'm like, okay, well, you don't need me anymore. Which is, social media is a big thing where, they constantly talk about, people need you and you need to be needed and you have to help people and give back, when a lot of the times I don't even focus on myself and what my needs are, which is quite bad.
Thank you for sharing this piece with us. No, we're truly grateful to have insights into your personal experiences. If it's okay, Willow, I'd like to ask you a question. You did mention earlier that you learned from the relationship you had with your ex. Could you share some insights about that? What exactly did you take away from that relationship?
So with my most recent ex, the one thing that I took away from is sometimes people really like to act like children. And I hear my parents talk about it quite a lot. My parents have been divorced since I was a kid, and sometimes they'll take stabs at each other. My mom will be like, it was like raising a third child. And I never truly understood what that meant until I was with my ex. We were doing really good. We were together for, half a year. He moved into his own place, a couple months into us being together. And ultimately, it was one of those very fast-moving relationships where shortly after I was pretty much there every day. I was staying the night. I was cooking. I was cleaning. I was reminding him to take a shower and to brush his teeth and to change
You're
his
mothering
clothes.
him.
And I quite literally ended up becoming his mother,
Yeah.
which was not fun. That was to the point where
He was your baby.
He was needing me too much.
Yeah.
And then it really starts to take a strain in your relationship. It takes a strain even on you. He had a roommate as well that I was essentially taking care of as well. There was a lot of nights that I ended up having, when I'd go home, I ended up having to go back because something would go haywire and they'd need someone to go fix it. So it really taught me to, in relationships, as much as I want someone to need me, I also have to really kind of look internally at myself and how I'm coping. Because it really came to a head where, I ended up coming home to my mom on Thanksgiving after, we kind of had a bit of a fight to a degree. And I told him, if you don't remember me inviting you over to Thanksgiving and you just do your own thing, then don't come. And it really, I've never truly felt the way I did that day. And it made me realize emotions are really a complex thing that I never really grew up understanding. And as I get older and get into these more committed relationships and longer relationships, something I really have to focus on.
Again, I want to say thank you so much. Thank you to all three of you. We've had such a great conversation. And I want to stay here, please. Let's not be in a hurry to leave.
Yeah.
Mr. Oboli, there are people who have given up on love. I was going to pull up statistics I saw yesterday, but unfortunately, I don't want, my phone is a bit slow now. If I'm correct, it's that about 19% of Americans have given up on love because they've been battered over and again. They've had failed relationships, and it seemed not to be working for them. But you said something so profound about that emotions can be a complex thing. For someone who is mentored, married couples, you've mentored those who are dating, etc. How could you speak through that from the place of someone who's been, broken, or someone who's been hurt by someone they trusted and loved?
Well, here's the thing. We are only responsible to ourselves. That's the only thing that we're responsible for. I wrote in my book and said that if you really want to change your partner or to make them something else, then the shortcut to that is just go and get a doll, from those witch doctors and put a pin and then start controlling them because you're a witch. You're not that person's God. You're not the person who's going to control them. So leave them alone. Basically, be the best version of yourself. Because you know how it is when you go into an environment and then the CEO of the company has a tradition in his company whereby he pulls people in, he gets them involved. So that person that was distant before comes in and just bonds into that culture. The leadership of that whole thing manages the people and steers them in the right direction. So first thing you think about is, how do I function as a person? What am I bringing to the table? What is this person doing? Are they really good for me or not? Like in her case right now, she pointed out something. She likes to feel people need her as much as possible. That would also subconsciously lead you towards a certain kind of men in and of itself. You wouldn't know it. You just feel like, okay, he doesn't really need me. I'm always looking for that stray person out there who's just on his own. I feel like I want to help that person. And you find out it goes beyond that. You're not changing the person for that. So characters have to change. Different people have to change. But the only thing you can control is yourself. So you have to learn when to say no and see the signs and say, nope, I like you and I want to take care of you, but from a distance. But for this one, he's good for me, and we both can work together to help other people as well, rather than bringing that stray person into your home who needs someone else, not you.
He needs a therapist, for instance.
Yes.
That's just me saying, right? You're not the therapist,
You're
right?
not the therapist.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm certified.
Yeah, so
just yet.
it's working all those things together. But when people are saying, I'm giving up on love, they're giving up on themselves, basically. Because many times, social media and all those things, they have an impact. But you don't know their subconscious impact. The sum total of who you are goes back to your upbringing, your worldview, everything about you. All culminates in that. We have a natural proclivity to go towards a partner. That's how we're hardwired. We need a partner. We're not built to be an island. And it's a good thing because and then you have to have a tribe. So like going to dating apps and all that, you don't have a tribe around you telling you this is that person. I always tell people that there are 4 ways to know someone totally before you get married. You want to know them with yourselves. Do you like them? Do you like their company? Are they even good for you in any way? You want to know them with their own friends because that's when they are free. That's when they, those things that you think you know about them and you see. You've seen guys and you're like, I know you here, but when you're with your friends, like, who are you or who is this girl with her friends kind of thing. Then you want to know them with their parents if they have parents. You want to know them with them. Do they respect their parents? Because how long would they exhibit that same with their own parents and bring it home to you? And you want to see them with your own parents because the way they treat your parents and the way they reverence them will also show whether they will also respect you as a person. So you're looking at the sum total. It takes a village to raise someone. So don't look at the person in front of you. You have to look beyond just I like this person. He looks suave, he looks cool and all that. You have to look at how do they function in other environments when they don't have the safety net of being someone that would dazzle you at that time. And then you can be able to see the person for who they are. And then take stock. Always take responsibility and say, hey, I don't have to. I know I really like this person, but my feelings can be controlled. My emotions can be kept down. But my hurt is going to be alone. I'm going to do it myself. So you have to be careful.
True. Wow. Okay, so I'm immersing myself in this deep conversations we're having, and I'm loving it. Thank you, everyone, for bringing your best self into this room today. And I'm going to let you guys ask your questions. I don't want to control too much the conversation. I want you to be able to ask the coach here anything you've been thinking about, thoughts you have in your heart. It's your time.
I'll go back to what you said about seeing your partner in like different environments. Like how much of that is really like how much like I don't know how to word this, but like it's sort of hard to differentiate those since say like me and my girlfriend, we live in together now.
Yeah.
And I feel like I know most of her, I guess, personalities, like how she behaves around like her friends or her parents or like say a stranger. But like, does it really matter in like figuring out like they are the one or are they not? If you like, I feel like sometimes it's sort of like mixed feelings that I think what I'm getting after. I'm sorry, it's
That's okay,
a
take your
bunch
time.
of different words I put in together.
Yeah.
But like, how do you like control those mixed feelings? Like, oh, I didn't like what she said around her friend, or I guess you know what I mean.
Yeah, I
like,
know what you mean. Yeah. Well, the thing is, first and foremost, if you're going to go, there are two kinds of people that come to work. I'm just giving the environment of a job. Some people come there because they want to build a career. Some are just passing through. They're not going to be into the culture. They don't care.
Right.
It's like, this is just a step. I just want to get a job. And we'll come with our different, the same thing with a relationship. If I'm thinking of getting married to a woman, it's a very different relationship I'm going to have with her if I'm thinking, she's just my girlfriend. They're two different things. So the direction you're going from the relationship determines how much effort you're going to put into it and what you're going to learn. So if you're going to go into partnership in business with me, what would you have to do? You have to find out who I am. You want to know exactly how I think. What do I bring to the table in terms of, okay, how are we going to do this partnership? Do I even align with you in terms of values and ethics and everything else to work together? I always tell people, I said there are three things in life where we have a suspension of disbelief. And it's sad that we're doing that. One is okay because it's the environment, and that's the movies. We go to the movies, wow, Spider-Man jumps from, yeah, suspension of disbelief. But the other two is politics and marriage. We don't use the same ethics, the same standards. You see someone that's clearly bad, but I like him. He's on my side of the aisle. And I just say, oh, I'm going to go there. The same thing we do with guys. You're a thinking person. You're on your game at work, on school, and everything. When you meet a guy, I don't want to think. He's tall, dark, and handsome. You know, we use silly things like that. Oh, he completes my sentence. These are mundane things. They don't make any sense.
All right.
But we use those parameters to judge. And sometimes we judge people based on our own flawed worldview and our own selfishness. So I don't like what she did. But really, the problem isn't with her. The problem is with you. I've had quarrels with my wife over things that today, I thank God that she still has them as her qualities. Because now I admire those things in her that I used to like feel irritated about, because I was more inclined to love her in spite of everything. Because if it's unconditional, as she said, if it's unconditional in terms of your love, then that means you're not trying to look for a way out. You're always looking for a way forward.
Right.
You understand? In that relationship. So it's not about just getting them in different environments. It's also, what is it in the long term? What is it I'm looking for in this relationship? Am I trying to form her into some... I've seen people conform a woman to like, you have to do this. And when she finally did it, he found someone else. So it's not fair on her.
So
basically,
wait,
yeah.
sorry. How did you learn to appreciate those things you didn't like about her that you do now?
Some of them came from selfishness. Remember, I'm coming from being a bachelor to being a married person. They're two different things. I'm wearing that's totally different hats. I'm with someone, I'm now accountable to that person, and she's accountable to me. I'm responsible for her, and she's also responsible for me. Two different things. But I was taking my freedom, and I felt like I was being encroached on because she said something or she did something that way. But now I'm thinking, wait a minute, she's my wife. She's not doing it to hurt me. It's just her behavior. It's something, I probably have some things that she's tolerating, and I don't even know about it. So it's a give. It's two imperfect people coming together and saying, you know, we're going to make this thing work. We are not good, both of us. Let's just admit we're not perfect. So why am I trying to get the perfect woman, which I don't know if that exists, or a perfect man, if that even exists? Because people are always trying to make, and they always project something that they think they want until they don't want it. I mean, I've seen guys who are like, man, I want a girl, woman who does this, does that. And when he finally gets the girl, it's like, man, I wish you just challenge me a bit, or doesn't. Why is she always agreeing with everything I say? You know, you think you want something because it's been projected, but everybody's unique in their own sense. So their principles are guided. The basic principle is responsibility towards another person, not necessarily because you can change the person. Because saying that they have to be perfect in this way assumes that you are perfect as well, and you're not.
Obviously,
Yeah.
Willow, Lindsley, you want to ask a question quickly? Because we need to go on a commercial break very quickly.
You can go.
So we were talking a little bit about like social media and dating apps earlier, and obviously in this new generation, we're seeing a lot more people, younger people on the apps and social media, and I'm just wondering like a little bit more into why is it that so many people are, rather than meeting someone organically, they're turning to social media, and why is it that it never really seems to work out just as well rather than meeting someone on the street, per se?
Yeah, because people are afraid.
Yeah.
They are very afraid. You meet someone in real time, all your friends know when you break up, and you feel like, that's going to hurt me. But on social media, I can just do it. It's kind of a discreet thing. We like to hide, basically. So we like that distant person, that someone there. And then there's that coolness of, wow, you found this guy. Where did you, if it happens to be somebody that is like that. But what we're missing is the background check. Every sensible society has a background check on somebody. And if you don't do a background check, how would you do it if there's nobody to actually do the background in first? You don't know their background. They tell you who they are, and you have to accept it from there, and you pick based on that. Meanwhile, the guy you're looking for all your life is right there beside you, and you friend-zoned him. And you, instead of looking at his qualities and saying, this is the person. I always tell some women, I said, you're looking for your husband, but he's been working with you. You've been competing with him at work rather than loving him as a partner. So that's the problem. We kind of take that fear and we go to the apps. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing inherently wrong with those tools. That's not the problem. The question is, it's the assessment you make of each person that you have to not suspend that disbelief. Yes, I met you online. That doesn't mean I'm going to throw away my ethics and understand and how I assess you, and then start going into, okay, social media, so everything else can just go. We can just strip everything else. No, use the same standards as you would use if you met the person in real time.
Wow, this is straight up, straight talk, and I'm really excited about what we've been able to achieve in the few minutes that we have. I wish we'll come for part 2 because I know you have more questions. I do have more questions, but we will leave it here for today, and we have another guest, but before then, we'll take a commercial break. When we return, we have Talazi Sex Excellency in the studio. It's Valentine's special, people. Get ready to dance.
We're currently sitting in my studio space.
I started through discovering just different worlds of art.
Very quickly, it changed from statistics to poetry.
Connects my senses and it connects my brain.
I'm just making things that I think are cool.
More often than not, people are supportive.
How are people going to experience this, and what scale do things need to be?
The freedom was liberating for me to do something that I just love doing.
Still trying to figure out what my artistic career is. Who knows where I'll be in 2 years, 3 years. Who knows where I'll be in like 10 months, you know? That's great. Yeah.
There's a lot of challenges that our leaders are facing in not-for-profit right now. So the work we're doing here is going to help alleviate that. We're hoping that it helps to actually amplify and contribute to the work you're doing. You're in this room right now with some of the brightest lights in communications and design. Everyone here deserves a giant round of applause for your fantastic work.
Bring the power! Conestoga's finest hour! Conestoga College!
Good luck today.
Thanks, man.
How I'm loving life these days. I see it falling into place. It's coming together, I don't even need to chase it. You see it written on my face. It's the right time, right place. How I'm loving life these days. It's the right time, right place. How I'm loving life these days.
From that immersive conversation on love, we would like to take your Valentine's Day experience notches higher with a special saxophone performance. We are giving you a good feel vibe today with our one and only saxophonist, Sax Excellency. Enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, Sex Excellency! I've had such a fun time today on the show, and I hope you did. I wish we had more time, but not today. So, ladies and gentlemen, in celebration of love, Sex Excellency has recently released a sizzling new track titled Love. This Afrobeat dancehall tune is a heartfelt ode expressing deep appreciation for one's better health. The song is currently streaming on Spotify, enchanting listeners with its infectious groove and romantic essence. Today, Sex Excellency has performed his best as always, and I want you to go on to Spotify and stream that song. Until next time, I'm your host, Mama Zawonker, signing out. Have a great day and happy Valentine's Day.
It's your boy Talazine once again now.